Another another commentary. It seems like this is the only way I can get a debate, so I have to do my commentaries. And this particular commentary is on this brother's name is Karate Judaism. I don't know his actual name, but his YouTube channel is Karate Judaism. Right? I want to make sure that I'm actually okay. I think I'm live now. I think I'm live. Okay, yeah, good. All right. So let's see. Let's get in here. He's going to. This brother here is Karate Judaism, and let's see if I can put a picture of him up here. Let's see. Let's see. Now this brother, I've seen him around for a while. Let's just put this up here. This is not really a picture of him, but you can actually see Karate Judaism, and here's a up close and personal. That's him there. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go get to the video, and you see this is Ron Dalton Jr. He's trying to make a clown out of him. So let's see if he can make a clown out of Ron Dalton Jr. And one thing I'll say, Ron has done his homework, and he's very learned in his research. He's a researcher, so kudos to him. And it's kind of hard really to debunk somebody who's a researcher. Now, if you kind of add a little bit of your personal beliefs to it, then you can kind of be debunked. But try to stick to facts and things that can be proved, and that's the thing. That's the key to a debate, right? Be willing to admit, you know what, I didn't look at that in that particular angle. You know, be willing to say, you know, you're right on that. Okay, I have to change my teaching on that, but this part, right, I know I'm right about this part here. Okay, all right. So let's go in. I'm laughing because I appreciate humor, right? Somebody did something like this on me. Had Kazakia's a dummy. So I appreciate humor. It's okay to make fun of people, but you know what? You can't make fun of facts. Let's continue. Wait a minute. Blonde hair and blue eyes. Come on now. Look at that. Come on now. Come on now. Do I need to pull out Herodotus on you? Do I need to pull Herodotus? Tell the truth. One thing about him, he told them that they stole Hercules too. Hercules was a black Egyptian deity. All right, let's continue. Go ahead.
Shalom family, please make sure and hit the thumbs up button, make sure you subscribe, and hit the notification bell button. That way you're notified when I go live or I post a new video. I'm reposting this presentation because I did not like the visual nor the sound quality of my last live broadcast, so here you go. This is a response and the final video on this subject because I've covered all grounds with this fake movement. This is a response to the lying Ron Dalton.
Wait a minute, hold on. Fake movement. Fake movement. Let's see how fake. Yeah, okay. I love when people say fake movement. See, one thing. Book knowledge is one thing, but revelation is another. So let me just say this right here. I was minding my own business. I was a good Christian. I was a good little Christian boy, playing the organ for the Church of God in Christ, traveling with the late Timothy Wright. I had just came off of fast, and that's how I grown to my knowledge and revelation through prayer and fasting. And while I was praying and fasting, a voice spoke to me, and I believe it was the messenger Gabriel, but be that as it may, told me I was an Israelite. Study Daniel 9 and the city Jerusalem and the people of Israel, and the prophecies would open up to me. So at that time, I was a good Christian man on my way to being a successful gospel musician and artist, and the Most High pulled my coattail, right? So my knowledge of Israelite has absolutely nothing to do with historical proof. However, in the latter times, we have come to learn to utilize resources that confirms the revelation, right? With that said, let's go back into our beloved brother. Let's say his name was let me see. What did I say his name was? Karate Judaism. All right.
Junior. We're going to do 9 points, 9 major points, 9 major lies that he says. We're going to debunk them one by one. Point number 1. Dalton the Dingbat seems to be under the impression that Jews believed the ancient Israelites were all white. This is a...
Well, I would agree with Don because of what I just saw in your video that you the still that you had in your intro. A white man with a white man with blue eyes. Now, whether or not you agree to that or not, but I would not have posted that in my intro if you didn't believe that. So your opening statement is kind of contradicting your intro, but be that as it may, go ahead.
Typical straw man argument that this clown always says all the time on all his broadcasts when he's speaking about the...
Okay, hold on a second. Now, I know you and Ryan have some personal encounters, but is it necessary to call him a clown?
Jews. He knows he has to misrepresent our position because he can't deal with the actual facts. Nobody with a brain denies there were black Jews in the past that were converted to real Israel. For example, we have the Black Lemba.
Stop to the stop. Stop to the stop. That's where you messed up. The black Israelites weren't converted. Right? I can pull out my resources, but this is a commentary, not a resource. You want to see resources, go to our channel, Sons and Daughters of the Covenant. We spend 3 hours going through books proving the points. This channel is not about pulling out reference books. This is commentary, right? So he's wrong because Abraham, the father of the nation, was, as the writer of the book, the Jew, a so-called Negro, said Abraham was a Negro. So the father, right, of the nation of Israel was a Negro. The writer in Jew, a so-called Negro, says that Abraham was married to the Cushite's daughter. She was black. Right? Cush was black. Zondervan says Ham is the father of the dark races. Who the dark races? Egypt. Egypt is a dark race. That's what Zondervan says. Now either Zondervan is lying or you lying like the Greeks, because Herodotus said that the Greeks lie. Right? So Israelite, the blacks that you call black Israelites were converts is false. The original, as a matter of fact, Dr. Brown, I just did a commentary on his video. He said the original Israelites were brown. Not black brown, right? He's getting close though. They lost their color, became white after the years and centuries of marrying white women. Gentile white women. That's what he said. That's what he said. Right? So the so-called blacks were not converts. They're the original people. Case in point, Israel, the first 12 tribe son, Judah, married a Negro, Tamar. Tamar was his son's wife, who when his wife died, she was a Canaanite, had Canaanite sons, right? And they were black. Canaanites, sons of Ham, right? So Canaanites, when the Canaanites intermingled with the Israelites, they became one people. Judges chapter 3 tells you that the Canaanite Israelites dwelt amongst the black Canaanites. They gave their sons and daughters, so they became one family. Hamitic people. How about that? Prior to that, Joseph, one of the 12 sons, got favor in this black land of Egypt, took that black Egyptian wife, Asenath. That black Egyptian wife, Asenath, gave him 2 black children. But you say they were converts. All right. You seem to be suspect, brother. Let's continue.
Who I know very well from Africa, as well as the Ethiopian Jews, who we're all close to. I'm very close to them. They do not claim to be the originals.
Well, we already know some Ethiopians were, depending on their stock, because we covered this in our lesson today. King Shlomo, his mother was black, right? the Uriah the Hittites are black. Bathsheba was black. She was Shlomo's mother. So you got Judah being black already, black on top of black, black on top of black. Then, so Shlomo, offspring of his black Hittite mother, right? They were amongst the Egyptians, right? And they left out a mixed multitude, right? And many of them married Egyptians, right? Black Egyptians, right? So when did they convert? They converted when they connected. How about that, right? All right. So the scholarship is there, brother. Dig a little deeper. Let's go.
Jews come in every skin complexion. That's the real truth. However, the original Israelites were not a black people group.
Wrong, all day long, wrong. The scholars proved that, right? I know your feelings is hurt because listen, let me say this here, right? This is not about whether or not you can be a part of Israel. The covenant of Abraham is clear. Anyone can be a part of the covenant, But to claim that you are a descendant of a father and you white as snow is a lie. The lies you tell, right? If I said my father was Irish, you'd be like, well, I was white until I went into Africa. My father, he left Ireland because he didn't want to be around his family, so he moved to Africa, and the heat made him dark, and so now here I'm black. You look at me and say, what is wrong with that guy? That's crazy. That's how crazy that sounds, right? So your feelings is hurt. Now, the reality of the matter is, the covenant is for all people, right? The Most High said to the prophet, "My house shall be a house of prayer for all people," right? So all people can become a part of the covenant of Abraham. That's a given. But let's not claim a lineage, because it's not a wonderful thing to say you're an Israelite, because the Israelites was a cursed people, right? Scattered to the four corners. He said you be cursed, right? If you don't obey the book of the law, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15, curse shall you be in the city, curse shall you be in the field, curse, 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 right? That ain't a wonderful thing to say you Israelite, and the book say you curse because you broke the covenant. That's something to be ashamed of, right? So the enlightenment of the so-called black people is to know that the reason why you suffer from the condition you suffer, because you are those people that made a covenant, that broke it, and to the third and fourth generation, that curse continue to be perpetuated. That's what it's about, right? White privilege is real, right? Ain't no such thing as black privilege, right? So, hey, if I could pass for being white and enjoy that white privilege, I would enjoy it. You look to be white to me, so enjoy your white privilege, brother. You can still be in the covenant of Abraham, but just be a white Gentile convert. Nothing wrong with that. You getting the benefits of the European rule and control in the global scale. All right, let's go back in now.
As a whole, they were not. There's no evidence on that subject whatsoever.
See, he got his emotions on this. See, you can't be a teacher and have your emotions right out front, because you're not going to teach truth, because your emotions is we can't be Israel. Well, no Negro Israelites originally. They were brown skinned. Your feelings is hurt. Put them feelings in your pocket. Teach truth. Go ahead.
They were essentially a light brown people group.
White,
just as
now, where are you getting that from? A white brown people. What is your source? Are you just talking off the top of your head? Where is your source, brother? Huh? Don't look like you about to cry.
Modern Bedouin Arabs are, or modern Yemenite Jews, or Samaritan Israelites. Those.
Oh, I'm glad you said Samaritan. Wait a minute. Hold up a second. I heard something. Let me back up.
Just as modern Bedouin Arabs are, or modern Yemenite Jews, or Samaritan Israelites.
Bam! Uh-oh. Judges, 2 Kings chapter 17 says what? I got to pull this up real quick. Okay, hold that thought there. I got to pull it up because, see, somebody need to see it, right? Because you said something. Bingo. Ding, 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 ding. Winner, chicken dinner. You said something that was powerful. All right. So let's go to 2 Kings chapter 17, right? We're going to show you what the king of Assyria did, right? All right. They're the ones that's the converts. The real Israelites is taken into captivity, just like it says in the prophecy, right? 2 Kings chapter 17, right? All right. Let's see. We go into 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 19, right? Let's blow it up. Bam, there you go. All right. Okay, let's back up. Let's see. Let's back up here to I don't make it a lesson, so I want to kind of get straight to the point. So, verse 16, right? Verse 16 says, "And they left all the commandments of Yah, their Elohim, which made them molten images, even to calves, and made a grove and worship," right? "All the hosts of heaven and served Baal. And they caused their sons and daughters to pass through the fire and use divination, enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of Yah to provoke them to anger," right? Think of that word makar again, Deuteronomy 28:68, makar, sell. They sold themselves to do mischief and to do evil in the sight of Yah and provoked him to anger. Therefore, Yah was very angry with Israel, right? Israel is the northern kingdom, right? Removed them out of his sight. What did he do with them? He removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Yehuda only. So, Israel, the 11 tribes, primarily, you go and you deal. There was some of the 11 that came back with Yehuda, but be that as it may, prophecy said that he would take 11 tribes as a whole away from King Shlomo, right? That's First King chapter 11, because Shlomo had all these wives and let these wives make him worship centers for their deities, right? Moving forward. So it said, therefore he was angry with Israel and removed them out of his sight, and there was none left but the tribe of Yehuda only, right? And Yehuda kept not the commandments of Yah, but walked in the statutes of Israel, which they made. And Yah rejected all the seed of Israel, afflicted them, and delivered them into the hand of the spoilers until he had cast them out of his sight. For he rent Israel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat, the king of Jeroboam, drove Israel from following Yah and made him sin a great sin. For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam and did which he did, departed not from them until Yah moved Israel out of his sight. And he said by the servants of the prophet, so was Israel carried away out of the land of Assyria to this day. Now, here's the point I want to make. The king of Assyria brought men from Babylon. There goes your Babylonian Talmud. Right? The Babylonian Talmud started right there. Right? That's how they say it in Chicago, right there. They brought men from Babylon and from Kuthath, right? And now on our teaching channel, we show you pictures and stuff of the map of these nations, right? Awa, it's actually Awa, and Hamath, and Sephardim. Is that the Sephardic predecessors of the Sephardic Jews? I think so. All right. Sephardim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria, instead of the children of Israel. So he took Israel out and placed these new people in the northern province of Israel and called Samaria, and dwelt there in the city thereof. And so it was the beginning of their dwelling there, that they feared not Yah, therefore Yah sent lions among them. Wherefore the king of Assyria saith, nations which thou hast removed and placed in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of the Elohim of the land, therefore he hath sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them because they know not the manner of the king of the land, rather. The king of Assyria commanded, saying, carry thither one of the priests whom you brought from them, and let them go and dwell there, and let him teach them the manner of the Elohim of the land. Then one of the priests, not a whole tribe of them, one priest, whom he had carried away from Samaria, came and dwelt in Bethel, and taught them how they should fear Yah. Howbeit, every nation made deities of their own, and put them in the house of the high places, who the Samaritans had made, every nation in their cities wherein they dwelt. Right? Now, so you see Samaritans. So who was the converts? The Samaritans. I know you don't like that. So if your heritage comes from the Samaritans, then you're a convert, right? You practice Judaism. You embrace the Talmud, the Babylonian Talmud, and you follow the Talmud because you are a convert. The Israelites didn't have to convert because the covenant was given to them. So therefore, if you had the covenant given to you, there's no need for you to convert. What you do is you walk in it, right? So the Samaritans were converts, right? Sephardic Jews are converts, right? Babylonians, right, are converts. Kuth are converts. Nergal are converts. Hamath are converts. Avites are converts. Nibhas are converts. Tartak and the Sepharvites, which is Sephards, are converts. Right? So I just wanted to bring that out. So, brother, go back to the table. The original Hebrews came from a Negro named Abraham, according to, and I got to make sure I'm quoting it properly, but I think it was the Jew and Negro. It was either that or it began in Babel. I think it began in Babel, where they say Abraham was a Negro. I'm just telling you don't get no better than that, right? So you can't argue with me. I didn't write the book, right? This man said Abraham was a Negro, right? Let me see. Do I have it? Do I have it on hand? Let me see if I have it on hand. I don't have it. I don't have it readily. Okay. Wait a minute. Am I having? Let me see. Hold on. Oh, here we go. Oh, I got it. I'm gonna put it on the screen for you. I got it. Got it readily handy. All right. Let's see. Hold on a second. I'm gonna show it to you. Make you mad now. You gonna cry some more. This is the book. Okay, so I was right. It's the book called Jew and Negro, right? Okay, let's see. Can I blow this up? Can I make this any bigger? I can. All right. It says, let us not forget, right? This is the Jew and Negro on the bottom of page 54. Let's not forget that the Jews of the one clan, those who hold to the prophecies, claim their descent directly from Abraham. Any evidence of intermarriage traceable to Abraham's family or to his immediate posterity has direct bearing on this content. What are the historical facts? Abraham, right, was the son, right, of Terah, who is mentioned in Genesis as a descendant of Shem, and was born in Ur of the Chaldees, who we have already learned were doubtless Hamitic, right? And we know from Genesis that the ancestors of Abraham had dwelt for many centuries. So this is Dr. Brown's theology, right? So if Abraham was white, they dwelt in the black desert for many centuries, then they became black. It said Abraham dwelt for many centuries. The ancestors of Abraham dwelt for many centuries in the land of the Chaldees. Terah, Abram's father, had been a worshiper of idols, and what is more important, the people of Mesopotamia are referred to by, he says Jehovah, I'm not going to even go there. It was referred to by Yah as thy brethren. When the call was given to Abraham to get him out of Haran, where his father had died, Abram's father, Terah, was the son-in-law of Nimrod. Abraham's father, Terah, was the son-in-law of Nimrod. According to Eastern authorities, this will give us added proof of the direct descent of Abraham himself from Negro ancestry. You don't like me now, do you? From Negro ancestry. He says, let this fact be further borne in mind. It was in the lower part of the Tigris Euphrates Valley, the Semitic family mingled with people already in possession of the soil and formed a mixed people known as the Chaldeans. And it is from the land of Chaldees Abraham was born. Right? Okay? So how's that for a source, right? So Abraham was a Negro. Okay. I want to let you see who this author of this book is, so you can cry some more. Right? Let's ask Google. Who was the author of A Jew, a Negro? Who was the author of A Jew, a Negro? The Jew.
Showing pictures that match.
Okay, author Talmadge Abernethy. He was a black African man, right? You know what I'm going to do for you? I'm going to show you a picture of him. How about that? I'll show you a picture of him. Okay. His name was Arthur. Talmadge Abernethy. Okay. It looks pretty black to me. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him. I believe he was a reverend too. Look at him. This is the man that said that. He said Abraham was a Negro. Okay. Let's see who he be. Arthur Talmadge Abernethy was born in 1872 and died in 1956. Was a writer, theologian, and poet. How about that? He pastored several churches and contributed articles and poems to newspapers around the United States and was named by Governor R. Greg Cherry as the first Carolina poet. There he is. Oh no, this is Robert Greg Cherry. He kind of looked like Arthur Abernethy, right? So there he is, right? He was a theologian, and he said that Abraham was a Negro. He said, so that right there, take all of that. The Israelites was not black, and throws that into the trash can. He's telling the truth, right? I've been saying that for years. The Chaldees. If you look at the Sumer, right? Look at all the relics from Sumer, right? Look at this right. Let's show you something. Let's put in ancient Sumer. Ancient Sumerians. How about that? Let's look at some images here real quick. Look at that. Look at that nappy beard, right? Look at him. Right? Look at him. Hmm. How about that? Well, they say, yeah, but look at his nose. Look at my nose. It nose look like my nose, right? Look at this one. Look at all that hair back there. Look, how, you can't beat this one here. Look, they got the, that's the communion wafer right there. Let's blow it up. Can I blow it up? Open image. Open image in new tab. Okay. See, I guess I can. There you go. Look at that. Now look at it. So this is where Abraham grew up at. His father Terah. Look at that. These are black people. This guy right here look like the late Ben Amin. All that hair, right? Okay, let's get back. So brother, you got to get your feels off your sleeve, brother, and do some more scholarship. I mean, it's okay to be a convert, nothing wrong with that. But look, the oppressed people of the book, the prophecies are so clear in so many forms that you have to hire somebody to have you to misunderstand the book. Israelites were oppressed, right, on every side, right. All right, just wanted to bring that out. Let's let him come back in here. All right, get your feels off your shoulders, brother. Teach some knowledge. Let's hear him.
Those of which who never left the land of Israel. They've been there for over 3,000 years. So,
no. We just showed you that's false. Those are the converts that went into the land and remained there. Even Canaanites, right? Only people was hoisted out the land were the Israelites. Right? Okay, let me see. I got another verse just came to my mind. I got to give it to you while I'm thinking about it. What did the Most High say that He would do to Israel? So He removed them, right? Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28. 25. Yah shall cause thee to be smitten before your enemies. You shall go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. Removed. You said they were there for 3,000 years. The Most High said they would be removed. Not in place for 3,000 years, brother. Removed. I would call them to be removed. This is Jeremiah 15, right? Yirmiyahu, he said, I will cause them to be removed into all kingdoms of the earth, because Manasseh the son of Hezekiah, king of Yehuda, for that which he did in Jerusalem. They were removed, right? Not stayed in place. King of Assyria took them out the land, right? Yah removed them to all the kingdoms of the earth, right? Look at Jeremiah 24:9. I will deliver them to be removed into all kingdoms of the earth for their hurt, to be a reproach and a proverb, taught and cursed, all places where I shall drive them. Right? Look at 18. I will persecute them with the sword, with famine, with pestilence, and will deliver them to be removed to all kingdoms of the earth, to be a curse, astonishment, and a hissing and a reproach among all nations where I have driven them. Right? Want another one? Got one more for you. Therefore, thus saith Yah, you have not hearkened to me in proclaiming liberty, everyone to his brother, and every man to his neighbor. Behold, I proclaim a liberty for you, says Yah, to the sword, to the pestilence, to the famine. I will make you to be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. Huh? You said that they remained there for 3,000 years. Let's back it up. Let's see. We just showed you what the books say. Now, Would you say again? Let's hear that again.
Subject whatsoever. Rather, they were essentially a light brown people group, just as modern Bedouin Arabs are, or modern Yemenite Jews, or Samaritan Israelites, those of which who never left the land of Israel. They've been there for over 3,000 years.
They were removed. That's what the prophet said, right? Joel chapter 3, another one. Said, you have removed them far from their borders. You said they were there for 3,000 years. Most High said to the Greeks, you have removed them far from their borders. You said they remained for 3,000 years. Who's telling the truth? Right? Do you need to see that? I'm going to give it to you. Joel 3, right? This book don't lie. Somebody lied to you. Herodotus said that the Greeks lie. Right? All right. The children of Israel have you so. Here it is. The children of Yehuda, verse 3 and 6. The children of Yehuda have the children, and the children of Jerusalem have you sold to the Greeks, that you might remove them far from their border. That's what the prophet said. They all agree. You said they've been there for 3,000 years. Somebody lying somewhere along the line, right? I smell a rat. Okay? Now y'all see why I can't get no debate, because I come with facts, right? All right, let's go back in to the beloved brother. Bless his heart. He means well, though.
So they saw who left and who came back. They are actual Israelites.
Right. Okay, so we just proved you wrong. Just proved you wrong. Take that, chalked it up as an L. Okay, let's continue.
What these fake black Hebrew Israelites don't understand is that it is logically impossible.
Stop. Fake black Hebrew Israelites. Fake? No, not fake. Black, maybe, but not fake. Need to fake out, right? Because there's nothing fake about the truth that we just presented to you. The so-called Hebrew Israelite that you call fake and black, they come from the Negro father, Abraham. Abraham the nigger. Nigger means stranger, right? He was a stranger in a land that wasn't his, right? Israelites went to Egypt. They were a stranger. They were niggers in Egypt. Strangers, right? You know Hebrew. The word for Hebrew, stranger. Strangers outside of... See, the Most High didn't call us niggers. Other nations call us niggers because we were strangers to them. We're in covenant with the Most High, right? All right. He don't call us niggers, right? Let's continue. I said, brother, use the N word? Absolutely, because it's a Hebrew word. Let's continue.
For a people to be scattered throughout the world for 2,000 years and then have them all come back essentially looking the same. This is impossible.
It's not impossible. It's not impossible. Right? The Most High said, can an Ethiopian change the skin? How about that? You ever thought about that? Can an Ethiopian change the skin? I think not. So that's is a right wing talking point that holds no merit. Right? It's like saying a white person is no longer white because they moved and migrated to other parts of the world. They might get a tan, but they won't be black. That makes no sense at all, right? Let's continue. Go ahead.
They're going to look like all the nations due to the inevitable mixing.
Every Israelite didn't mix with every nation. I'm sorry, you can prove that by looking at the DNA. There's a small percentage of mixture of other national people, right? So here I am, 2,000 years later, right? And I got a small percentage, right? Nobody mistakes me for being white. I mean, just a high yellow man. off of this, you might think, oh, he look like he's white, but then you say, oh yeah, look at his hair. You look like you might have a little bit in you. I'm looking at your hair. You claim your African Edenic lineage. Somebody in there would be nice.
This is common sense, which is something that is severely lacking with this movement. So here's the thing. Why is Dalton the Dingbat claiming that there are no European-looking Jews, when in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 62 through 64, it clearly says the Jews would be scattered to the four corners of the earth, and that they would be few in numbers. Now, blacks all across this earth are about 1 billion.
That's another bullet point, right-wing bullet point, right? Okay, all black is not black, right? Africans, when we talk about black, we're not including Hamites, right? There's a difference between an African and a black. The blacks we talk about, when we say blacks, we talking about the children of the diaspora. And yes, we are a minority, right? The blacks are a majority to a certain extent in the world, but the Israelite so-called Negroes are a minority. We're a minority in the United States of America, right? There are African people here, but we are a minority, right? They distinguish us from the African people in the census records, but I digress.
1 billion, whereas real Jews throughout history until today have always been between 11 to 14 million Jews. Huge gap difference.
Jewish converts, right? That's what they are, converts. So, yes, because Christianity is the majority religion. So when you talk about Jew, you're talking about Jew a religion, not Jew a ethnicity, because Judaism is not an ethnicity, it's a religion. So when you talk about the largest religions in the world, yes, it's going to be a minority, brother. But go ahead.
Few in number. The real Jews are few in number. Again, those who are of the dark complexion are 1 billion.
Dark complexion, not Negroes. Big difference. Continue.
All right. This also, by the way, contradicts the African dysphoria, which they always talk about. Common sense tells you that there would have been European-looking Jews if they were also exiled amongst Europeans for 2,000 years. This is common sense. But again, we're not dealing with common sense here. Furthermore, the ancient Israelite historian Josephus openly states in Antiquities of the Jews that there was already an entire tribe of Israel in Europe during his time. It's obvious that the fake black Hebrew Israelites simply want to exclude any European-looking people as Jews because they are black supremacists. They hate white people openly. Not only does the ancient Israelite historian Josephus openly state there was an entire tribe of Israel in Europe, again, in Europe, he lists where all the 12 tribes were and where they were known to be after the 70 AD destruction. I repeat, after the 70 AD year destruction of Jerusalem. Newsflash. He never says a word about them going to sub-Saharan Africa. Not one word. No historian says that. But yet they claim this. One of their long list of fake claims. Here's the exact quote from Josephus in Antiquities of the Jews, chapter 11. There are 2 tribes in Asia and Europe. I repeat, Asia and Europe, subject to the Romans, while until now there have been 10 tribes beyond the Euphrates. What does this mean? The tribes of Israel were primarily scattered throughout Europe and Asia. Notice that Josephus is writing in Rome and that the Euphrates is in Iraq. So when he says beyond the Euphrates, he means throughout Asia, east and north of Iraq.
Okay, he says so much that I need to deal with. So he's quoting from Josephus, which is good. Europe As a matter of fact, when you say Europe, okay, to him, Europe was not Germany. That's where the Ashkenazi Jews come from, right? All right. Remember, in my other, presentation, I covered this here. The Ashkenaz descendants of Jews of France, Germany, and Eastern Europe, right? So when Josephus is talking about, and I'm not too sure if the quote actually says Europe, but I'll give him that. Okay, I'd have to research his reference, but they're claiming on the Jewish 101 that the Ashkenaz descend from France, Germany, and Eastern Europe. Okay. However, the Sephardic descended from the Jews of Spain, Portugal, North Africa, and Middle East. This is on the Jewish website. Okay. He says, no historian says that, well, I beg to differ. The Jewish people on their own source says, look what it says, descendants of Jews from North Africa and the Middle East. That's the Mizrachi, right? Okay. So I beg to differ, brother, right? So you said there's no scholar that says that, but the people say it themselves, right? As a matter of fact, have you heard of It Began in Babel? We just shared that earlier, right? They talk about, how about the Jewish so-called Negro? Let's go to It Began in Babel, right? It Began in Babel. I could show you all kinds of references, right? Let's see, can I do this? Why is it tripping on me? Oh, I know why it's tripping. It's because I got this on full blast. Okay, there we go. Look at this here. This I don't know if you can see this. Let's try it. See if I can blow it up. Oh, wait a minute, hold on a second. I messed up. Let's blow it up. This, and then I think this is from the it says, this one here says, the Jews are numerous not only in Fez but spread throughout the whole kingdom, where it's supposedly the amount of 800,000, and among them are many goldsmiths, for the Moors must have not meddled in that trade, being prohibited from is it Algerin? There have also a consult by whom the stamps of money are kept, which they only license to Koyin in New City. The inhabitants are, right, Mohammedan, Jews, Christians, but the Mohammedans, being far the greater number, have chief command in all things, so they be many sects of them in Fez, along as the Turkish Empire. They are being principal teachers and heads of every faction feared here, which has what is it, marvelous Muhammad, is it, no, it's not Mohammedans, or saints given rule to their followers. Okay. But if I had time, I would go through and show you, right? There are plenty of other sources. Oh my goodness, that basically tell you, right? Okay, let's see. That's okay. That's oh, I don't want to get that. Those are Ethiopians. These are Ethiopians, right? Okay. So these people are black, right? Okay. Let's see. What is this here? Okay, this is some stuff here. This is another book. I don't want to get into that. It's a whole lot of stuff there. I'm not going to read from that. I want to find something real quick, straight to the point. Okay, that's the races of man. I'm not going to deal with that. Let's see. What is Babylon and Timbuktu? African being. Okay, here we go. This is which book is this? This is from the book. We talked on this earlier today. From the book of Africa being a description. Is that right? Africa being a description. But I'll give the reference if you want the reference. It says many Jews also are scattered over this region, from natives bloating themselves with Abraham's seed, inhabiting both the sides of the river Niger. Others are African strangers who fled thither either from the desolation of Jerusalem by Vespasian or from Judea, from the Judean wasted and depopulated by the Romans, Persians, Saracens, and Christians, or else such as came out of Europe, whence they were banished, right? It said out of some parts of Italy in 1342. So this is what Josephus is talking about, right? They were banished out of Italy, that's Europe, right? And this is the islands of the sea. That's what Isaiah 11 talks about. Italy in 1342, out of Spain in the year 1462. We know about that, right? That's called the Spanish, during the time of the Spanish Inquisition and the expulsion of the Spanish, that they call Black Spanish Jews, right? Out of the Low Countries in 1350, right? Okay, so that would be the lowlands of Europe. Out of France in 1403 and out of England in 1422. They're all different in inhabit and are divided into several tribes, having the dominion both wealthy and numerous, but despised of all nations and an abomination to the Turks. They are not admired to be Mohammedans until they are baptized, and then no otherwise made use of them to receive the customs and gather in their taxes. See that? So that's the source there. That's the book called, let's see if I can give you the book Africa being a description. I think it is. I thought I had took a picture of the cover. Let me see. Did I do that? Let me see. I don't think I took a picture of the cover. Africa being an accurate description. Let's pull it up real quick. See if I can pull it up. Okay, this book sells for, this is the original book, sells for $6,000. Look at this picture here. I gotta show it to you. Let's blow it up right quick. All right, that's the book. See that? By use, $5,941. View larger image. There it is. Right? There it is. See that? Africa being an accurate description of the regions, right? That book is $6,000. Look at that. Look at that. So that's the source I quoted from. So our beloved brother says that there's no historical record or proof of Israelites being Israelites going to Africa. That's where you're wrong. I can show you another one where they're talking about the Israelites who was taken into St. Thomas, right? Who came from Portuguese, right? And were taken. Let's see, is this the one I'm looking for? Hold on a second. Let me bring this down again. I'm looking for. How about this? This is a book called A Tribute for the Negro. All right, let's blow it up. We're gonna shame the naysayers, right? All right, let's blow it up, blow it up. So this book is entitled. This is page 66, A Tribute for the Negro. Though thus separate from African population, they are black. Let's back up here. Who retain their religious rights and distinct habits which keep them isolated from other nations. Though thus separate from the African population, they are black and resemble the other Negroes in every respect as to physical character. It is probably an allusion to this case that Pennington in his textbook says the descendants of the colony of Jews originally from Judea settled on the coast of Africa are black. Right? M. Rosset declares that there are many Negroes in the Algerian country, whether they have doubtless been brought from interior of Sudan and very probably from Hossa, who are of a jet black color, but with truly Roman countenances. In one case, a degradation resembling that instance among the Irish people has been recorded to have taken place in the oasis of Fezzan. Right here it says they have a very peculiar cast of countenance which distinguishes them from other blacks. Their cheekbones are higher and more prominent, their faces flatter, and their noses less suppressed and more pointed at the top than those of other Negroes, right? Just like my nose, right? Their eyes are in general small, and their mouths immense width, but their teeth are generally good, and their hair is woolly through, though not completely frizzled. They are dull, phlegmatic people. Here we have, with black skins, Negro faces, and woolly hair, a people descended from the white tribes of Arabia. Imagine that, right? How black descend from the white tribes of Arabia. I think you're talking about lighter complected, but I digress. Who still speak the language of that country. The Portuguese, who planted themselves on the coast of Africa a few centuries ago, have been succeeded by the descendants blacker than many Africans. Right? So that's from the Tribute of Negro, A Tribute for the Negro on page 66, right? So we present facts, brother. We're presenting some facts here. What is this? This is okay. This is Jew and Negro on page 103, right? Let's blow this one up here real quick. It says, this is point 2. By evidence showing that racially antipathy was so much more marked in olden time than at the present, that had the Jew not been originally Negro, or at least so early in his history as to give basis to the modern race, the social, political, and commercial relations which their more illustrious leaders have been shown in their volume have maintained would have been improbable, if not impossible. Abraham reared a race by Hagar, an Egyptian. Right? Job, according to history, married an Arabian negress. Joseph married an Egyptian daughter of Potiphar, priest of On. Moses married a Cushite daughter of Jethro. How about that? Moses married a Cushite. And according to history, Princess Tharbis of Ethiopia, Boaz, great-grandfather of Dawid, married a Moabitess. David married Maacah, daughter of Ptolemy, king of Geshur, whom Joseph believes to have been Negro. Solomon, can I read this here? This is in the way. Solomon wed the daughter of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and also the queen of Sheba, who was an Ethiopian. Esther married Ahasuerus, king unto Ethiopia. So there you have it. Now, how do I get out of this here? So there you have it. Let's see, what's this here? I'm pulling other stuff out here. All right, this is page 105, Jew and Negro. It says, by a series of comparisons, both historical and ethical, aided by an examination of miscellaneous photographs gathered by an author from a careful study of the American Jews and American Negroes in more than 28 states, which set forth such marked similarities that the Negro characteristics of the present-day Jews remain, notwithstanding their years of intermarriage with Caucasian types. The author is quite convinced that it will be difficult for the Jews of today to recognize their less cultured African brother, whose skin is racially dependency and long years of uninterrupted repose under the degenerating climate conditions of Africa, has retained its ebon hue and whose mind has not yielded too readily to the enlivening process of the sharp practices of trade, as has elsewhere been shown. The gradations of ethical culture, intermarriage, migration, and intimacies with Caucasian races have elevated the Jewish people to a condition where they control vast commercial enterprises, possess some social prominence, and but for their retained bruteness, in many respects resemble the Caucasians. Yet thousands of years of effort to throw off their, negrescence, have failed to eradicate those race characteristics, and the Jew of today is essentially Negro in habits. Physically, how about that? Nobody ever told you that, huh? The Jew of today is essentially Negro in habits, physical peculiarities, and tendencies. The Jews who have migrated in modern times into Africa and other whatever, I didn't get the rest of that, but that's another page. All right, so brother, you got to go back to the table. All right, so if you are a European Jew, you came from us, brother, not the other way around. Like my dad used to say, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Let's continue.
He doesn't say a word, once again, about sub-Saharan Africa or West Africa. Not one word.
Oh, yeah? Well, I mean, I could cite another source, but I won't do it. But how about ever heard of the book called The Hebrewisms of West Africa? That debunks all of that, right? Talks about all the different tribes, right? All the different tribes, how their language is similar to the Hebraic language, the ancient Hebraic language, but I digress. All right, go ahead.
So who are we going to believe? An actual ancient Israelite historian who went through the 70 AD destruction, or some fringe nutball YouTuber named Ron Dalton Jr.? I'll let you answer that. Point number 2. Dalton the dingbat and his gullible zombies claim that European Jews cannot be real Jews because they are known as Ashkenazi. You hear this all the time because they're not educated on the exile of real Jews. So this is what they go to all the time.
Well, that's the one. Once again, we just showed you what they said on the credible Jewish website. Let's bring it back up, brother, because let's not forget, right? What does it say? What does that say? Ashkenazi are descendants of Jews of France, Germany, and Europe, Eastern Europe. Germany, right? Let me see if Google can help me out here. Where did the name Gomer originate?
According to baby names, the name Gomer is boy's name of Hebrew origin, meaning to complete.
Okay, complete. It's interesting enough to note that Japheth, the son of Noah, I don't know if there's a debate about whether he's the third son or not, the baby boy. I believe he was the baby boy. But be that as it may, the name Japheth means to expand, right? Now Gomer or Gomer is Gomer ancient word for Germany? Right. Okay. It says the Hebrew name Gomer refers to Cimmerians who dwelt in what is now called southern Russia beyond the Caucasus and attacked Assyria in the late 7th century BC. The Assyrians called them Gimri and Cimmeri. King Teshba was defeated by Ashardin by Assyrians sometime between 681 and 668 BC. Right? Okay. So another source says, and I had to pull it out, one of my references says that Gomer is the progenitor. I think don't quote me, but one of the sources says that Gomer is the one where the Germans descended, right? And as we showed you in the previous, I don't know if it was this lesson or if it was another commentary, but if you go to Genesis 10, it says it right there, right? Either you believe the Bible or you don't, right? The sons of Gomer, see right here, Ashkenaz, right? See, Gomer means completion. Right, completion. And Japheth means to enlarge, expansion and completion. Gomer means completion, right? So, I mean, our beloved brothers in his feelings. But Ashkenazi is a biblical people who they label and call themselves Ashkenazi. That's their references. This is not something that some angry black person made up. Right? Oh, let's go back in now. I'm trying to keep a dual screen here. Go ahead.
Convenient. Which is a name from the line of Japheth, which they're trying to promote, by the way. This is a perfect example of the utter...
We don't have to promote. They promote it by saying they Ashkenaz. The Bible says the Ashkenaz is. So nobody's promoting nothing. We just giving you what the book says. Point blank, period.
And limited education, biblically, of this fringe movement.
No, it's not limited education. It's solid concrete. Ashkenaz is right there in the book. That's why I'm leaving it there so you can see. Ashkenaz. Let me highlight it. The more you say it, the more it's gonna stick there. Right? As a matter of fact, Ashkenaz is a couple times in there. Let's see. Is in the scriptures a couple times. Let me see. It might be spelled different. Let's see. Let's do a search real quick. Okay, I think it is in another time, but I must have missed it. But let's leave it highlighted. Okay, go ahead.
Again, Ashkenazi is German. It means Germany. In other words, they were given that title in exile because they settled in that region during exile. Just like Mizrahi Jews are given a Hamitic title because they settled in Egypt. Mizrahi comes from the Hebrew word for Egypt, which is Mitzrayim. And yet nobody, not even them, are trying to claim that Mizrahi Jews are the ancient Egyptians. But they do it with the Ashkenazi because, again, this is a game. This is a game that's being played with our scripture, with actual history. What more can I say? Point number 3. Dalton the Dingbat and his entire case is built on non-stop straw man arguments. Another example of this is his absurd notion that we are claiming the ancient Egyptians were white. Here we go again. That's all they see is black and white. Because again, that's what they're doing.
That's all that so-called black people see, because that's all that's been thrown at us. You gotta understand that, brother. I mean, I came up a good old Christian boy. Every Sunday I had time with church, look up, see a white picture of white Jesus on the wall. Right? So if that's all you had thrown at you, that's why it was so important that you had to put it in the books. It was so important that you had to make movies called The 10 Commandments and make Charleston Heston Egypt. Right? It was so important that every movie, biblical movie, everybody in there was white, and if somebody black was in there, they was a slave. Let's go.
Nobody with a brain is claiming ancient Egyptians were a white group. No one. Not us.
Wrong. They are claiming that. You claimed that in your intro. We just saw the picture.
No one. The point is they generically looked exactly...
Matter of fact, where your blue eyes at? You don't have blue eyes. You're more black than you more black than you know. For real.
Like modern Egyptians. The rest of the world understands this, but not them. It's essentially only black supremacist nutballs like Ron Dalton Jr. who...
Stop. We can't be black supremacists because we don't have power. Only people can have supremacy is people that have the power to control. A black person can't be a supremacist. Now, we can have prejudices, right? Everybody has prejudices, you know. Okay? That's just human nature, right? Somebody have to check you on your prejudice, right? Okay? So
know this. Newsflash. The largest DNA study ever done on ancient Egyptians showed that the ancient Egyptians had less sub-Saharan African blood than modern Coptic Egyptians.
So let me ask you a question then. You know, my question is, right? Whose DNA did they test it from? Okay? Whose DNA did they test it from? That's the question. Tell me the name of the person, right? I'm not against DNA, but tell me the name of the person. Tell me, give me a name of the person that they tested the DNA of the Egyptians, right? That are there today, right? And those are, we can read it to you in history that the Arabs trampled over the ground of North Africa and forced, we read that today in our lesson, forced the Israelites that was in North Africa to convert to Christianity.
What does that tell you? Point number 4. Dalton the Dingbat claims that the Canaanites were black as well. And yet, just like the largest DNA study ever done on ancient Egyptians, DNA debunks his lies again. DNA extracted from 4,000-year-old specimens from ancient Canaan shows that they share 90% of their DNA with modern Lebanese people. All of the things that are being claimed in this video.
Once again, whose DNA? Okay, because you just spitting out stuff that you. Where's your sources? You got to cite your sources. You're saying stuff, right? And the scholars are as a matter of fact, one particular scholar that comes to my mind is Zondervan. Zondervan says Ham is the father of the dark races of people, not the Negroes. So was Zondervan lying? Everybody's lying, but you, right? Your sources you haven't cited. You haven't cited any sources. You just talking. I mean, I can talk and say, hey, the sky's red. Yeah, it's been proven. Really? Yeah, it's been proven. The sky's red. Are you going to believe that because I said it was proven? Or are you going to show me your proof, right?
All the historical proof will be in the description box and the comment section. Okay, so I'm going to post them below.
Okay, I'm going to look
and
see.
Again, they would know this if they studied and actually knew the facts. But again, it's always fake claims, fake facts.
Okay, I'm glad you got links. I'm going to look at your links and I'll do a commentary on your links. How about that? Okay, go ahead.
Point number 6. They always claim that Israel is hot and it's like Africa, blah, blah, blah. You heard all before. Not knowing, again, because they're not educated, they've never been there, not knowing that the temperature...
I've been there in March and it's hot desert in the middle of the day. In March, it was hot. So, I mean, I'm an eyewitness. But let's continue.
Climate of Israel is always 70 degrees almost year-round. It's a Mediterranean climate. It is not sub-Saharan climate whatsoever.
It don't have to be. Because if they came from their father who lived in the hot climate in Sumer, Ur the Chaldees, that's where the DNA come from. They come from the area of that they immigrated or migrated into, right? Okay.
Okay, now we're going to talk about, with this point, skin tones here. The only comeback that the fake black Hebrew Israelites got for this one is their goofy
You are anti-Semitic, right? You don't have to hate, brother. If you disagree that the so-called Negroes are Israelites, that's your right to disagree. But don't get angry because those brothers are presenting the truth and they rubbing it in, right? But it's all good because we one family. I mean, anybody can be a convert, right? Be proud of your heritage. I don't know what you look like. You might be Spanish a little bit, but let's continue.
Those are brown line, which only shows how ridiculous their claims are. What they don't seem to understand is that coastal peoples are more likely to have seafood-based diets that are high in vitamin D, which means they don't need lighter skin. Again, I will put the studies below so you can look at this for yourselves. They don't understand.
Well, I was in Israel, and I don't know your knowledge of if you lived there or you know any natives there, but when I was in Israel, right, I saw guys riding on camels and they was darker than me. They own vegetation. They was monitoring their properties. I don't know who those people were, but they didn't look like you. They looked like me. They was blue black, right? In Canaan, same thing. People live in Canaan now. Who are they? They had like their own little farms and stuff up in Canaan land, right? Still today, they didn't look like you. They were darker, right? So who are they? Oh, they're immigrants from Africa. They left Africa and came to Canaan, and they got farms. Okay, all right.
Common understanding of how this works. Every organism has the God-given ability to gradually modify their external features in order to better adapt to their given environment. That's why darker skin is generally found in sunnier regions, while lighter skin is generally found in less sunnier regions. No sane person can look at the indigenous skin color map and deny there is a clear pattern. Only a black supremacist nutball like Ron Dalton Jr. would deny this, and he does. Again, I'll put the links.
This brother got a real problem. Name calling, right? Blacks, that's where's the love? You practice Judaism because by your name you practice Judaism. Where's the love? Why is it so full of hatred? Right?
The fake black Hebrew Israelites simply have no options but to deny the obvious facts that are contrary to their claims and stronger than their fake claims. They have to obviously deny the obvious correlation between the general complexion of population groups and climate. Why? Because the entire land of Israel, once again, is a Mediterranean climate, not sub-Saharan climate. That's why it's not always hot there. It's not hot at all. All right, point number 6. Point number 6. Another fake claim of their list. Dalton the Dingbat and many of their gullible followers like to point out another fake claim that Israel has the highest rates of skin cancer. Here's the part they conveniently leave out. Israel has the 6th lowest rates of deaths from all cancers. You want to talk about skin cancer, there's all kinds of groups, including Black Americans who suffer from skin cancer as well. Does that mean that there's something wrong with their skin tone? Of course not. Again, they won't say this because it doesn't fit their narrative. So it's another one of their fake claims again. It's true.
Well, I don't know. I've never met a black person that has skin cancer. So that's not to say it doesn't exist, but it's not so popular amongst our culture. So I don't know what's the point.
Israel does have a high rate of getting cancer. And again, Israel is full of skin complexions of all kinds, from very light to light brown to dark to darker. Again, we have the Ethiopian Jews who are very dark. The skin cancer is for them too. But again,
Ethiopians are not very dark. They're light complected, right? They're like my tone, a little darker maybe. So he's wrong with that.
The death is 6th lowest, which they ignore, of course. All right.
His brother's upset.
Here's the real kicker.
Uh-oh.
The fact that Russian Jews make up a large portion of the Jews in Israel today, which is what they try to point out, proves in itself that they are the real Jews. Why is this? Because Jeremiah chapter 3 verse 18 openly states that a large portion of Jews would return to the reborn nation of Israel from the land of the north. It reads as follows. This is Jeremiah chapter 3 verse 18. In those days the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel. They shall come together out of the land of the north.
Okay. You don't know the prophecy because Judah and Israel are not together. If you're claiming Jewish ancestry, where is Israel at? The other tribes, right? Walking together. So out of the land of the north. Okay. Is the land of the north Europe? Okay. That is what your opinion is. But if you go and look up north, right, of Jerusalem, the land of the north would be the land of the northern kingdom. This north of Jerusalem would be the northern kingdom, which would be Samaria, right? So I guess you're assuming that the land of the north is the continent of Europe. So the land of the north would be anything north of Jerusalem, right? Because that is the territory north of Jerusalem. But we'll talk about that another time.
Land that I have given for an inheritance unto their fathers. Newsflash. The farthest northern nation that is directly north of Israel is
Europe.
Russia.
Or Russia. Oh. So the Russians, so to your estimation, all the Israelites are in Russia. So do you discount, wait a minute, let me back up a second. I think I covered this years ago.
To the reborn nation of Israel.
He's reading from the NIV, I think.
Here's the real kicker. The fact that Russian Jews make up a large portion of the Jews in Israel today, which is what they try to point out, proves in itself that they are the real Jews. Why is this? Because Jeremiah chapter 3 verse 18 openly states that a large portion of Jews would return to the reborn nation of Israel from the land.
Okay, 3:18. So let's see. I think he's reading the NIV version. So it says, in those days, the house of Yehuda shall walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the land of the north to the land that I have given for inheritance unto your fathers. Right? So he said, they shall come together out of the land. So come together, right? Out of the land of the north. Okay? So it's a couple things that you got to take into consideration. Is this prophecy jumping forth 2,000 years? Right? Has it already happened? That's another thing you gotta ask. In those days, the house of Yehuda shall walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the land of the north to the land that I've given for an inheritance unto your fathers. But I said, how shall I put thee among the children and give thee pleasant land and goodly heritage of hosts of nations? And I said, thou shalt call me Father and shall not turn away from me. So we know this is this. Okay, so this is future because this has not happened. Okay. But I don't see where he said he's adding to the scripture. He's adding to this. Let's back up a little bit.
Israel does have a high rate of getting cancer, and again, Israel is full of skin complexion. All right. Here's the real kicker. The fact that Russian Jews make up a large portion of the Jews in Israel today, which is what they try to point out, proves in itself that they are the real Jews. Why is this? Because Jeremiah chapter 3 verse 18 openly states that a large portion of Jews would return to the reborn nation of Israel from the land of the north. It reads as follows. Okay. This is Jeremiah chapter 3 verse 18. Okay. In those days the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel. They shall come together out of the land of the north to the land that I have given for an inheritance unto their fathers. Newsflash.
Okay, all right. I see now. I get it. If you look up north, right? They shall come together out of the land. Okay. From to be firm, earth, right? Of the north. This word here says hidden, that is dark, use only of the north as a quarterly, gloomy, and unknown. Okay, that kind of adds a little something to the game. It kind of makes you Come from the hidden, covering, hoard, reserve. I think this word north is misrepresented. That's because it would make you give you the implication that it's actually talking about a literal land. I need to look a little further into that because this always has been a question in a lot of people's minds. Okay, but now I'm looking at the Hebrew. Safan. Okay. Right. Okay. I think there's more to it besides the literal interpretation of that. I think that's an allegory. Okay, but we'll look at it. We'll look at it a little further. But that's his interpretation of what that's saying. The land of the north talking about they coming from Russia. I don't see where it's saying that. Okay, that's your assumption that it's talking about Russia. Okay, if you want to assume, you know what happens when you assume, right? Just for the sake of the argument. Okay. So here is Jerusalem, right? Here's Israel. Let's blow this up all the way. I like doing things like this. So all this is Jerusalem. So where's Russia? He said Russia was the land of the north. Okay. That's a stretch. There's Armenia. There's Georgia. How come I can't find Russia? Oh, it's way up here. Oh, wow, that is a stretch. Where's Russia at? Here's Poland. I didn't go up far enough. Where is Ukraine? Where is Russia? There's Poland. Oh. Okay, there's Russia's way over here. Look at that. Way over here. All right. Here's Israel. Right? Here's Israel here. So this is Ukraine. So, okay. So all this land is Russia. But is there a specific area that he's making reference to? Because from a literal perspective, north of Israel would be Turkey, or as they say, Asia Minor. Why did he go all the way to Russia? Of all the places that's north. And can we find anywhere in the scriptures where it makes reference to Russia, the North land? Let's see, the land of the North. Let's see. Hold on. Let me see something here. Okay, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that one, but maybe we'll pray about it and do a study, because I think it's more to it besides specific, because that's just vague to say the land of the north and it's Russia. No, that's just vague. That is very vague, though. Here's another place where it says, "Behold, I will send and take all the families of the north," says Yah, "and Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, my servant, and I will bring them against this land, and against the inhabitants thereof, and against all the nations round about, and utterly destroy them, and make them astonishment, hissing, perpetual desolations." So in this case, the land of the north is Rome. And they are the ones that sacked Jerusalem. So the land of the north, Rome is actually east, right? So anything that could be classified as north could be anything that's north of Israel. Spain is north, right? Could be talking about Israelites that's in Spain. Let's bring this in. Where is the United States geographically to Israel? So United States could be the land of the north too. How about that? Because if Israel is here, United States would be North America. I mean, you stretching to make the land of the north be Russia. Right? Anything north of Jerusalem could be the literal land of north. I would venture to say that the north is the United States, North America. Because all the other lands have names because he mentioned them by names and by tribes. But this land here wasn't a known land at the time of that prophecy. Okay, was a known world. The known world was over here. So he says the land of the north. So that could be the land of the north. It could be twofold. Could be prophecy pertaining to the land of ignorance of Yah's covenant, which is North America, which fit that real good. Also, geographically speaking, North America is north of Israel, which is right here. Right? See that? You go over here because Atlanta, Georgia is like parallel to, where's Georgia? Right here. Georgia is like kind of like parallel to Israel, right? So the land of the north could reference the United States. Concretely, I can't say concretely, but it's a possibility that the land of the north could be North America. I'd like to chop it up with some people on that and see if they come up with that. But I never really thought about it because nobody ever asked me that question before. But it's possibility that it could be talking about North America. Okay, a land that didn't have no name. Okay, let's continue.
The farthest northern nation that is directly north of Israel is Russia.
So we see now that that's an assumption, right? It's not proven. That's his assumption because you got to go past a whole lot of places, right? Even Europe will be considered the land of the north, right? The whole continent of Europe, right? But I'm kind of more so leaning towards North America being the land of the north. Okay?
So it's just a coincidence to them that the largest immigration of Jews returning back to Israel is from the very land that is directly north of Israel, which is Russia. Really? A coincidence?
Assumption.
Notice also that we know Jeremiah chapter 3 verse 18 is dealing with the large portion of the Jews by virtue of the fact that it refers to them as the house of Israel, meaning many. Recall also how the ancient Israelite historian Josephus records that a majority of the 12 tribes were throughout Europe and Asia, like I mentioned before. One of the excuses the fake black Hebrew Israelites tried to make for why the Jews in the land today can't be the real Jews is because many of the Jews there are blaspheming the name of God and committing sins as if their nation isn't, which is hilarious, by the way. This just shows their ignorance of biblical prophecy. In Ezekiel chapter 39, verses 1 through 7, we read about the end-time battle of the nations coming against the reborn nation of Israel. This passage proves that the Jews will still be profaning the name of God in the land.
It doesn't say reborn nation. See, that's adding to the scriptures. Okay, reborn nation. And how do we know that that's not talking about when the Messiah returns? Okay, so there's a lot of things that you got to see. You can't assume, and this brother is doing a lot of assumption on prophecy. You can't assume, right? Okay, that's a Christian bullet point because I remember Jack Van Pimp. We used to call him Jack Van Pimp. Used to teach that, and I embraced that as a teaching. But as I began to study, I'm like, wait a minute, is that really what that's saying, or is that what how you manipulated the text to make it seem like it's saying that, right? All right.
In the land. Look at verses 6 through 7. And I will send a fire in Magog, and among them that dwell carelessly in the isles, and they shall know that I am Yehovah. So will I.
My question would be, who's Magog? Who is Magog? Why is he sending a fire on Magog? And who's dwelling carelessly in the isles? What isles are they talking about? Okay, go ahead.
Make my holy name known in the midst of my people Israel, and I will not let them pollute my holy name anymore. This is in Ezekiel chapter 39, verses 6 through 7. You see that? Notice that this is stated after the Jews have returned to the land and after the end-time assault against real Israel. Hence, this shows that the Jews will still be profaning the holy name of God and others in the land, which debunks one of many of their fake lies that they say all the time, that the Jews are supposed to be completely...
He's reading from a script. Okay. Hey, he's venting though, but he's basically prophesying according to his own accord without accuracy. It's assumptions, a lot of assumptions, but go ahead.
When they come back to the land. Furthermore, Zechariah chapter 14 openly states that the Jews would be settled in Jerusalem in the last days before the end-time assault of all the nations coming against Jerusalem. This is biblical prophecy all over the scriptures.
Okay, Zechariah 14, you talking my talk now. But that's with the Messiah, right? That's with the Messiah.
Because they don't study scripture, they only study sound bites. What's convenient This is another proof that the Jews in the land are the real Jews. Point number 7. One of the claims that Dalton the Dingbat makes is that European Jews do not carry any Hamitic DNA, which means they can't be Jews, which is another lie, since the Jews lived in Egypt for 400 years and amongst the Canaanites for 2,000 years. Again, they assume that the Egyptians were black and the Canaanites, which is totally bunk.
Gotta go back to the table on that one, brother. Gotta go back to the table on that one. You got to go against a whole lot of proof of Christian scholars who said Ham, his descendants were black. Theology that has come to bite them in the butt because they wish they could take it back. They told the truth, right? Because they wasn't expecting black people to read. They say they wrote a book for white eyes only, and now that we can read, we like, oh, he said this? Oh, really? Right? Herodotus said the Egyptians were black, woolly haired, right?
An outright lie. The ancient Levant haplogroups are J and E1B1b. Newsflash. The average European Jew is 20% E1B1b, the same as the Bedouin Arabs, by the way. So again, that's another lie. They do have that DNA in them as well. And again, I will put the proof in the description box and the comments. So yes, European Jews most certainly do carry the Hamite marker of E1B1b through the sojourn of their ancestors in Egypt, and the fact that their ancestors lived among Canaanites for 2,000 years, whom, as we've already seen, looked exactly like modern Lebanese people. The irony here is that it is black Americans.
The artifacts show differently. So I mean, people say when science disagrees, archaeology disagrees with their findings, they lie. Jeremiah 16:19 says, is it 16:19 or 19:16? It's coincidence. 16:19. Is that a coincidence though? 16:19 and 16:19. How about that? Or, O Yah, my strength, my fortress, and my refuge, in the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come to thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. So there's no need to get all emotional. We've all been lied to. So if you reared on disinformation that Egyptians and all the Hamitic people were white, or as you say, Middle Eastern looking, my question is, when did they become Middle Eastern looking? And what is Middle Eastern looking?
Americans who have no genetic ties to the Levant corridor whatsoever. Zero. For example, black Americans who are overwhelmingly E1B1A carry virtually no E1B1B or J. Dalton the Dingbat claims that European Jews are actually the Edomites. The problem is that European Jews are 40% J and 20% E1B1B. And by the way, on a side note, they found the ancient remains of the leftover of the Edomites destroyed in Israel. Mr. Dalton, apparently...
Who found that? Okay, you got some references. I'm going to look at your references. I'm going to see what you got.
Seems to have forgotten that the Israelites lived amongst the Edomites for 2,000 years. Josephus even records that the Jews actually forced the Edomites to be adopted into their ranks as Jews. This is from Josephus himself, which we all know, through forced conversion. Dalton the Dingbat will not explain how black Americans lived in the Levant for 2,000 years among the Canaanites and European Jews and yet carry neither of the primary haplogroups, J or E1B1B. Not a word. Crickets. Point number 8. Another claim that Dalton the Dingbat makes is that European Jews cannot be Jews because they carry elements of various different paternal haplogroups. This just shows again how utterly uneducated this man is, though he claims to be. Of course the Jews are going to carry elements of various paternal groups. Why? Because Jews have been accepting Gentile converts for 4,000 years, which is scriptural, based on the Torah. I mean, this guy is a comedian. He's a total comedian. We see throughout Scripture that the Jews have always been accepting Gentile converts. It's clear that Dalton the Dingbat has absolutely no idea what he's talking about, biblically, nor historically, nor when it comes to haplogroups. The fact of the matter is that it is expected that the Jews would carry elements of various different paternal haplogroups by virtue of the fact that they have been accepting converts for 4,000 years. Point number 9. Dalton the Dingbat is constantly lying to his audience. Again, he's making a lot of money off this. He's lying to his audience over and over again about E1B1A being a Semitic haplogroup.
Okay. I'm going to end. It's been almost 2 hours. And so he's getting off into E1B1. It's not my area of expertise, so I'm not even going to even indulge in the rest of this video because I'm sure that's where he's going to see what else. He's probably got a closing thought.
Of EM2 and EM29 strongly
talking about that.
Have the west coast of Africa as the Ethiopian Sea, and all of the ancient writers understood West Africans to be Cushites. They grouped sub-Saharan Africa as Ethiopia, like I said before. Furthermore, as I've shown, the primary haplogroup of West Africans, including black Americans, traces its origins to, again, East Africa. Meanwhile, the primary haplogroups of real Jews and Bedouin Arabs, the J haplogroup, traces its origin back to the Levant. And if you look on a map, the Levant is where Israel is located. Shalom. Thank you so much. And make sure you like, share.
Well, I mean, on that note, quite naturally going to trace them back because the people that's there are the people that had their DNA. All right. The Israelites that's there they're not getting no DNA test. They don't know what you're putting in their mouth. So the European inhabitants, Arabic mix, they don't have a problem with that, right? So so that's it. That's all I have. And find yourself a hot girl here. How about that? I really appreciate you putting that there. Man, you're just a wonderful person. You really are a moral individual to interrupt the person that's doing an educational lesson by putting that up. I know who's responsible for that, but if I say who I know is responsible for it, then I'll get a strike for it being anti-Semitic. But the people that I noticed that they only comment stuff like that on channels like this, and I probably don't have nobody even live that's viewing me. Maybe one person, probably that person that posted that, right? Yes, that's amazing. All right, so be on the lookout for other commentaries than I anticipated, but this brother had a whole lot of emotional baggage. I'm gonna check out some of his links, and I'm gonna terminate this. So until the next time, brothers and sisters, prayerfully you had a blessed Shabbat, and